At the T-minus 3-minute mark, tape recorders on board the spacecraft were turned on. These recorders record both voice and data.
This is WOMMLP operating out of Burlington, Vermont, 105.9 The Radiator. Good evening, it's the Rocket Shop. Welcome back. Happy 2020. I'm your host, Tom Proctor. With me tonight is Miriam Bernardo. Hello.
Oh, hello.
How's it going?
It keeps going.
It does.
Doesn't it, though?
Time tends to do that.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to keep going from that little snow squall we got earlier today.
Yeah, it was pretty fierce. I actually think I saw thunder and lightning at one point.
You did not.
I genuinely did. I looked out maybe I was just hoping for it. I looked out my office window and saw
like the rapture was happening.
Yes,
oh my God. People's clothes were everywhere.
This is happening at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Well, we always like kicking off with a song. So what have you got for us?
I am going to do a song. I've got Brian Clark here with me playing guitar. We're going to do some acoustic versions from my album, Songs from the Well. And the first song I'm going to do for you was written by Aeneas Mitchell for me. And it's called I Got a Well. Break my spirit if you can. I've got a well that won't run dry. Fill my pockets full of sand. I got a well that won't run dry. I'm gonna sing my song into the wind. I'm gonna sing where I'm going and where I've been. I'm gonna sing 40 years of wandering. Ooh, 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 ooh. Sing my share of sorrow. I've got a well that won't run dry. Working for the Pharaoh. I've got a well that won't run dry. I'm gonna sing my song to the sea. I'm gonna sing 40 years of slavery. I'm gonna sing. Couldn't get the best of me. Ooh. One of these days I'll rest in peace, lying in the shade of the olive tree. Holy water in the ground, desert blooming all around. I've got a well that won't run dry. dry. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna sing. Break my spirit if you can.
Miriam Bernardo there with I Got a Well.
Well, thank you, darling. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So Miriam, you're a one-woman Vermont institution. Just looking down the laundry list of other people you've played with and various other notable singers and songwriters of the area. You were the lead singer of Michael Chorney's Magic City.
Oh, yeah. Space is the place, baby.
You're in the Steady Betty, the rock steady band, which is where I've actually seen you play before. You play for Latin folk band Anapola.
Finke, the salsa band. You know.
Yeah. You played Persephone in
Persephone.
Persephone. That's my ignorance showing, shining
But,
through there.
you know, Persephone's had a lot of like alter egos, like Persephone, like the weird cousin, and Per se.
I'm going to pretend that's what I meant to do.
Persephone is a new one. I'm working on my own musical.
Need to brush up on my Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Tragedy.
So, yeah, what's your secret in being so successful as a musician in Vermont?
I like to try new things and learn new things, and I think it really stems from when I was 18. I really resisted going to college, and how's that working for you now, Bernardo? Anyway, I just always trusted that I was going to find my teachers as they're coming along, and music has always been like a big part of my heart, and I've sought out a lot of people to learn from, and I was lucky enough to learn from them, or they said yes, or just wasn't afraid to say yes to learning something different, trying something new, and I kind of just never wanted to be put into a box of sorts. Being versatile.
And how working with so many different diverse people which have so many different kind of genres and sounds, how does that influence your own solo work?
Well, I'm really not quite sure, to tell you the truth. I feel like I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about my voice throughout all of it, and different genres require different emotions, and I think I'm still learning, you know, and as everything changes, like the voice changes and whatnot and what have you, I don't really necessarily think of myself as doing a lot of solo work. I work with a lot of people. I feel like I'm more of a interpreter, so to speak. And the challenge for me is when I'm doing other people's songs to find my own thread of connectivity within it to make it mine. I don't know if I really answered your question, but
somewhat. I feel like what you're saying.
But I don't think of myself as a solo artist. Like I play with a bunch of different people, but to me, a solo artist is like writing their own music and accompanying themselves. And I'm lucky enough to have a wealth of wonderful musicians and friends that I play with. And I get to sing their songs.
So you're channeling their music and their creativity towards yourself as like a focal point? Is that, or did I get that completely wrong?
I'm more just feeling what they're playing, and I mean, I guess, sure.
We can go with that.
I feel a lot of things. She's a very feeling singer.
So let's talk a little bit about this new album of yours, Songs from the Well. It came out, or at least you had the launch party in October of last year. Was this, and I don't want to say solo, was this your debut front singer album?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what prompted you now to create this album?
Well, now, I mean, it was really in the works for about 5 years. It was a long process and quite a learning experience. And really, it was my friend and producer Peg Tassi that wanted to do it and pushed me to do it and made it happen. So there's that. It was pretty amazing. It was a gift. And again, it was one of these things where I've always wanted to have my own album, but it's such a kind of like a daunting thing in a way. And here was this woman that was like, I think it's about time you did this, Miriam, don't you? And I was like, okay. I said yes. And we brainstormed a lot about how we're going to do it. And, not having like, Miriam and Bernardo just like covering tunes or whatever. It was just like this thought of getting some dear friends to write songs or contribute songs to me. It's like a community cohesive project.
So to understand that you didn't write the songs yourself, you got a lot of other people to come together. And did you all sit down and write it together? Or was it each individual kind of came up with a song that they wanted you to sing and then brought it to you?
Yes, that is it.
And as I understand it, this process did take about 4 years?
Yeah, 5 years, like from the inception to then 2 years of 1 year to kind of like gather the songs, and then like another year to just kind of work on it, and then the third year of like getting the Kickstarter together and whatnot. It's just like so many parts, movable parts within it. I feel like with myself, it's like, hey, Miriam, is there a hard way to do something? I'm like, oh yes, there is. Can I do it that way? Not to say that was like all of it was really hard, but it was. We learned a lot. It was pretty amazing.
So
I got a college education. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
And you didn't have to pay for it. Well, maybe in certain ways. So with everyone bringing their own song to you, does this album have very wildly different themes? Were you surprised at how people were the differences that people bring to you? Because I can imagine if someone would tell me, can you write a song for this person? I'm going to come up with one idea based on how I feel I know them, or what they think about, or how they see the world, and someone else is going to see in a completely different manner. So what kind of surprised you in that kind of process?
Well, Brian here, he wrote 2 of the songs that are on the album, and for Peg and I, when we got the songs, because she produced the album and we worked, she made the magic happen. It was very interesting to not pick the songs and then figure out how we were going to make it so that it wasn't one song wasn't going to be coming from like left field from the other one, like how to make it cohesive. And my voice very much so is the thread of that. But I'd be curious. You should listen to it and then tell me what you think.
I've certainly
there's a lot of different things going on in there, and each song is very different from the next, but there's a sameness to it.
I'm actually curious, Brian. So you wrote 2 of these songs, and so when you were writing these, what was going through your mind, and how did you shape them to fit Miriam's personality and her style?
Well, when I first got asked to write a song, shortly thereafter, I don't know, within a month or something, I had written a song that I really liked, called "You Pass By," and it kind of started out, I felt like, well, she ends up singing a lot in the like Latin stuff with folks and musicians she's with. And she and I hadn't really played together very much, maybe a couple of gigs here and there. Mm-hmm. We met at a rock lottery, actually, down in Montpelier. But that one, I felt like, so I put this kind of Latin,
like a tango.
Except I made even like more. I started out being, when it first came to me, it was kind of a, and then I didn't want to do that after because it was cheesy. It is cheesy. But that did become the root of the thing. And then, like, you know, sometime later I wrote a different part entirely that goes on it. And I like that song, and it works. I think it works really well on the record. And then the other song, and that was like, so in my mind, that was specifically for her. I don't know why. I don't know. I didn't, you know, I don't know her that well, and didn't know her that well. And so I couldn't like say, I don't write songs for people like,
right.
I love you. I wrote a song about how much I love you. I just don't do that, as a lot of people do. I don't. But and the other song was actually, frankly, just a song that I wrote, and I was never thinking, oh, the song should be Miriam's song or whatever. Yeah. It just was a song I wrote, and it didn't fit with the musicians the band that I do play with. It was an acoustic song, clearly, to me. So I said, "There's this one too. You guys could pick which one you want," and they went with both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Was there a surplus of songs in the end? Was there any you had to reject?
It's a tough question.
Maybe not reject, but I suppose I'll word this slightly differently.
I mean, there were no, for sure. There were a couple songs that didn't work, and there were certain songs because it just didn't work. It didn't work for me, or whatever. And I went back to each of those songwriters, and I said, "Well, how about this one?" You know, and within that, the songs that they had proposed to me, they didn't write them for me, but they're like, I can picture you singing this, and that happened. That happened quite a few times. Aeneas Mitchell and Michael Chorney, I think they were the two of the songwriters that like specifically wrote the song with me in mind. You know, Michael Chorney, his track Contraption, he wrote it basically about my voice. And Aeneas wrote I Got a Well after like my name, Miriam, and my namesake, you know, who led Moses' children, you know, fought the Pharaoh and all that stuff. But yeah, anyway, so it was just one of those things. I was really thankful that each of those singer-songwriters were like, oh yeah, no. And I had picked a different one, and they were like, please, by all means, go ahead and use that. So yeah, that did happen.
Well, you navigated that question very well. So, well, I'd love to hear another song. So what have you got for us?
We're going to do a tune that Brian did. It's called Take Me Apart. Stuck in your head, the last few words, last night's punchline, I think. You know how it goes, taking the drunk from the drink. Vanishing act learned from a friend long time ago back in school. Apparently gone, hoping to bend all the rules. Hand on the banister, staring down long wooden steps. Take me apart, but but use up the pieces again. I pictured you as everyone else must have described you to me. The closest friend I ever imagined to be. Calling me out for leaving too soon. All of the doors left ajar. Finding escape without ever going too far. Resting your hand on the banister, staring down long wooden steps. Take me apart, but use up the pieces again. Take me apart, but use up the pieces again.
Take Me Apart there by Miriam Bernardo.
By Brian Clark, sung by Miriam Bernardo. You know, just to keep it clear. Copyright.
By Brian Clark, sung by Miriam Bernardo.
I'm thinking for next. Excuse me. Yeah. That's good.
You mentioned that there was a few lessons that you learned from creating this album. So when you, and if you get back into the studio to do another album
definitely.
of this kind of sort, what are those lessons and how would you change or adapt for the next project?
You know, I've been thinking a lot about that. And I think my next album is going to be called Voice Memos. And I'm just going to record voice memos and text it to people. No, I mean, that's a really big question to ask. There's a lot of things that were learned. Just having to navigate what a person wants, like what do we want, how do we want it to sound. There were so many times, like during the recording process, where like, you know, Peg and I would put our heads together and we both knew it just wasn't quite right, but what to do. And she was just really pretty amazing at figuring it out and, you know, doing the job as the producer and doing that. But I think that every album is like very particular as to what the lessons are learned. And yeah, I'd like to say like maybe it's, you know, the simpler the better, but then not. I don't know. There's a lot to say, but I'm not telling you. Just kidding.
Gotta keep the trade secrets. It has been noted by 7 Days that this is in their words the best produced album of 2019.
I know, it's amazing. I can't even believe it, and I can believe it in some ways because it really is a beautiful album, and all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it really paid off.
Did you realize how much work you were going to put into it as a collective before you started this project?
Heck no.
It wasn't all planned out from the outset?
No, I mean, you can plan as much as you want, but things happen and change, and right? Like, such is life, so it goes. That's the way it goes. But what I am most proud of is that, you know, Peg and I kept going, because it's a really intense thing to have a Kickstarter that happened, and then you are beholden and you got to make the product, and you're like, you know, under a time frame, and then we just kind of blew that out of the water, and we made a promise to each other that, we were going to we weren't going to feel pressure about that, because the product that had to go out had to be absolute. We both had to be able to stand behind it, and it just took the time that it did. So I'm thankful that in my moments where I really wanted to just put it out there, it wasn't like the time was really crafted. Like, it was really crafted and made it into what it is. So I'm really proud of it.
And Peg Tassie had a pretty large role.
The biggest one,
The biggest role
Yeah.
in creating this album. It seems like you two kind of created this hand in hand, and she was a really big driving force. What was her reaction when that launch party happened? What was?
We were both so relieved, and it was, for me. We were relieved in the way that there it was, and there was a product, and we finally made it to that point. For me personally, it was really beautiful and humbling to look out and see so many friends. It was just like a love fest, friends and family, and it just felt really good.
Imagine it was the hottest ticket in town that evening. And so this album came out in October. It's currently on Spotify. That's where I managed to buy it.
iTunes and Amazon and all those places, Bandcamp and
all the good places, all the not so good places.
It's at my house. You could come on over.
Is there physical copies? Have you got?
Oh yeah, I have some here for you guys. Archives.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get this pressed at the Burlington Record Plant?
I sure did. We sure did.
Love those guys.
Yeah.
What color did you go for?
Red, but I've been doing this creepy thing. My little advertising tactic. Because it's slightly larger than my head,
Are you wearing the same shirt?
But I can do it. Everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. Hey, you never know who I ran into today. Buy my album.
Love it. So have you got
there's a CD copy here as well.
Oh, wonderful.
Or
so are you? Is there going to be a tour at Companies the album?
I'm working on it completely. It's the nature of the project is that it was a project, and there's a lot of musicians on it. So it's not like it was a working band that I'm working with. So there's some to do, but I am working on doing a late spring production of it.
Nice. Have you played it in its entirety? Did you do that at the launch?
We did, absolutely, yeah. And my music video did that too.
Wonderful. And so it's about as much as we've got time for tonight, but is there any other gigs that you'd like to plug? I know you're in a million bands, so is there anything else that we can catch
None of
you
them
on?
are playing right now. It's awful. No, I don't have anything to plug except
Well,
that
apart
album.
from this amazing album, yeah.
I'm tired. Just kidding. No, I wish I did, but currently my band High Summer, we're working on an EP, and we'll have some shows coming in the spring. I think that the wintertime is actually a really good time to incubate and put those seeds out there, work on music and whatnot. Living in East Montpelier, I kind of loathe driving in late January and February, but
And March and April.
March and April, yeah, I'm getting out of here, actually.
Oh yes, of course. We were mentioning before we went on air that you're going down into Arizona for a month or a bit longer.
Yeah, it's about.
Very jealous.
Well, come with. It's fine.
Oh, it'd be great actually.
Yeah.
Stick me in your suitcase. Well, if you could leave us with a song, that would be fantastic. What have you got left to play?
We're gonna do a song by Patty Casey. She's one of my favorite singer-songwriters in Vermont, and this is a tune that she has previously released, but Peg and I really fell in love with it, and we're gonna do it now. I've been good to you, so good to you. It's crazy to say you want what runs away, and not a heart that's true. And I've been good to you, so good to you, that you may never find another one like mine any old time soon. In the broad middle of the day, with a white hot sun, you know I never did care much for it. But when evening comes around and the heat rolls back, cool lip of night upon my cheek, I wait for it. 'Cause I've been good to you, so good to you, that you may never find another one like mine any old time soon. When we met and walked through the trees, a little silver belly up moon, you know I hung all of my dreams there on it. But you were only passing through, I didn't mean that much to you. Now losing you got me almost blue, when I really think hard on it. 'Cause I've been good to you, so good to you, that you may never find another one like mine any old time soon. You can wish you may, you can wish you might, on every star tonight.
Miriam Bernardo playing us out with Good to You. Thank you both for coming in tonight.
Thank you, you were delightful.
This has been a real pleasure. Make sure that you get Miriam Bernardo's album at all good places. For example, Burlington Record Store.
Pure Pop, Bookspieler in Montpelier, Exile in Maine and Barrie, Speaking Volumes.
And also on Spotify, Songs from the Well. Just type in Miriam.
And Burlington Records. You can get it at Burlington Records.
Burlington Records. Well, once again, thank you guys so much for coming in. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next up, we have got Late Night Sneaky Uncle. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Stick around.